Sometimes in love, in relationships, in human connections, we give everything, our time, our attention, our heart, and yet the person we want the most walks away. They leave without warning, or worse, they leave with excuses that don't even make sense. You sit there replaying every moment, wondering what went wrong, doubting your worth, and silently asking the universe one question: will she ever come back? Let me tell you something. Chasing her, begging her, or proving your worth will only push her further away. But there's a way to make her come back, not because you begged, but because she can't help it, because she will see something in you that she cannot find anywhere else. You need to understand this truth. People don't come back to someone because they feel sorry for them. They come back because they realize they are losing something rare, something powerful, something they cannot replace. Your job right now is not to convince her to return. Your job is to become so strong, so grounded, so unshakably confident that she can feel your absence in every room she walks into. She will remember your energy, your presence, the way you made her feel. She will compare and nothing will match. Not the attention of others, not the smiles, not the conversations, because what you gave came from depth, from authenticity, a place most people can't reach. This is where you win without chasing. You win by becoming magnetic, by transforming your life into something so full, so purposeful, so powerful that her curiosity turns into longing and her longing turns into action. She will come, not because you asked, but because the silence spoke louder than your words. The moment you stop chasing is the moment the dynamic changes completely. Most people don't realize how much power they give away when they run after someone who has already pulled away. Every text, every call, every attempt to explain yourself, to prove your worth, it all sends a single message: you have more value than I do. This isn't about ego or arrogance, it's about energy. When you chase, you position yourself as the one who needs, while she becomes the one who chooses. That imbalance kills attraction faster than anything else. The truth is, nothing will push her away more than the sense that you are desperate to keep her in your life. You cannot beg someone to love you. You cannot convince someone to feel something they no longer feel. And yet, most people make the mistake of thinking they can fix everything if they just try harder. But the harder you push, the faster she runs. You have to understand something very clearly. Attraction doesn't work on pity. Looks, it works on respect and curiosity. When you stop chasing, you're not giving up on her. You're shifting the focus back to yourself. You're taking the energy you once poured into convincing her and you're reinvesting into becoming someone who doesn't need to convince anyone. This is where the elevation begins. You start looking at your life with fresh eyes. Where can you grow? What can you improve? What areas of your personality, your health, your finances, your skills need your attention? Because the version of you that she left might not be the version of you she will return to. The goal isn't to change for her. It's to grow so much that you become undeniable for yourself first, and then naturally for anyone else. When you redirect that casing energy into building yourself, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop operating from a place of lack and you start operating from a place of abundance. You no longer send the message, please choose me, but rather, I am already enough. This shift is magnetic because confidence, self-respect, and purpose are universally attractive traits. You begin to carry yourself differently. You speak with more certainty. You move with more intention. You start making decisions without waiting for her approval. This independence is not only healthy, it's irresistible. The funny thing is, the more you elevate yourself, more she starts to notice the difference. She will see the changes in how you dress, how you talk, the way you carry yourself. She will hear about the things you're doing, the goals you're chasing, the new energy you're radiating. And it will trigger something in her mind, the realization that you are not stuck where she left you. That thought alone can spark curiosity. And curiosity is the first step towards someone wanting to come back. But here's the catch. You can't do it as a tactic if your only reason for elevating yourself is to win her back. You'll give up the moment she doesn't notice. This has to be about you reclaiming your own value, your own power. It's about becoming the kind of person who never has to chase because they are so focused on living a full, purposeful life that people naturally gravitate toward them. When you rise like this, you stop asking, will she come back? And start realizing if she does, it's because I'm worth coming back to. That is the kind of strength no one can ignore. And that is why the moment you stop chasing and start elevating, everything changes. Absence has a way of speaking louder than presence ever can. When you are always there, always available, always ready to answer her call or message, you become part of the background noise in her life. She knows exactly where to find you, and that certainty removes the urgency to value you. But the moment you step back, the moment you create space, something changes in her perception. Human beings are wired to value what they fear losing, and when your presence is suddenly gone, it forces her to confront the reality of life without you. This isn't about playing games. It's about breaking a cycle where your availability has been taken for granted. Absence creates value because it reminds people that nothing is permanent. It brings a kind of scarcity to the relationship, and scarcity drives appreciation. And think about anything in life that's rare, people instinctively assign more worth to it. The same principle applies here. When you're not instantly responding, when you're not constantly showing up, when you stop making her the center of every move you make, you shift the balance. She begins to notice the gap you've left behind. That gap is powerful because it allows her to feel the contrast between having you and not having you. In that space you've created, memories become sharper. She will start remembering moments you shared where you made her feel the comfort of knowing you were there. The absence doesn't erase those emotions. It magnifies them. Sometimes when we are too close, people forget to see our value because it's right in front of them every day. But when you remove yourself from their daily access, the mind starts to play those memories over and over, and the emotions tied to them grow stronger. That's when she realizes that what she had with you isn't easily replaced. Creating this absence requires self-control. It's not about ignoring her to make her jealous or acting cold to punish her. It's about reclaiming your space and respecting yourself enough to not be at anyone's constant disposal. You don't need to announce it or make a statement. Your silence, your focus on your own life, your decision to no longer be an emotional crutch speaks for itself. Beauty of this is that it shifts the dynamic naturally. You stop being predictable, and unpredictability triggers interest. Over time, she may start reaching out because she's suddenly had a change of heart overnight, but because the reality of your absence is uncomfortable. She might check in just to see where your mind is at, to make sure you're still there if she needs you. That's the first sign that the value of your presence has risen in her eyes. But the key here is not to rush back in the moment she notices. You maintain that healthy distance not as a wall, but as a boundary. You show her that your life has rhythm and meaning without her being at the center of it. Absence, when done with self-respect and purpose, transforms how people see you. It stops you from being an option and positions you as someone who must be earned. It subtly tells her, I was a part of your life because I chose to be, because I had nowhere else to be. That is the kind of value absence creates, a value that presence alone sometimes cannot. And when she feels that shift, when she realizes the hole your absence leaves behind, it can be the very thing that draws her back to you. There are countless people she will meet in her life, but very few will leave an emotional imprint that lingers long after the person is gone. You have to understand that what truly stays with someone is not the exact words you said or the exact things you did. It's how you made them feel. So that emotional impact is the one thing that can't be duplicated by someone else, no matter how hard they try. When you gave her your attention, your understanding, your genuine presence, so you created moments that touch her at a level deeper than the surface. Those moments don't fade easily. Even if she walks away, even if she tries to fill that space with other people, there will be a part of her that remembers the emotional connection you shared, and that memory will stand out in contrast to everything else. The reason emotional impact is so irreplaceable is because it's rare. Most people operate in shallow waters when it comes to relationships. They're distracted, half present, and their connection is conditional. But when you've been the one who listened when no one else did, understood her without having to explain every detail, who supported her without keeping score, you've built something that leaves a mark. That mark is not erased just because she's trying to move on. In fact, it often becomes more noticeable when you're no longer around to provide it. When she meets others after you, she will inevitably compare them to you, even if she doesn't want to admit it. She will notice the lack of depth, the absence of that certain feeling she had with you. It's not about being better than someone else in looks or material things. It's about a level of emotional resonance that makes her feel seen, understood, and safe. People might be able to give her attention, but they can't replicate the exact way you made her feel, because that came from your unique way of connecting, from your authenticity, from the bond you built through shared experiences and emotional honesty. Powerful part of emotional impact is that it works in silence. You don't have to remind her of what you were to her. Her own mind will do that. In quiet moments, when she's with other people or even alone, something will trigger a memory, maybe a song, a place, a phrase, and she'll feel a rush of emotions tied to you. That's when she'll realize that what you had wasn't ordinary. That realization is hard to ignore because it comes from within her, not from you trying to convince her. But this emotional impact doesn't happen by accident. It comes from the way you live, the way you treat people, the way you hold space for someone without needing anything in return. It's about being genuine in your care and consistent in your presence while you were in her life. And when that kind of energy is gone, there's no quick replacement. It leaves a kind of emptiness that new connections struggle to fill. The truth is, she might not admit to missing you at first. She might even try to deny it to herself. But deep down, she will feel the difference. And that feeling is what makes people come back, even when logic tells them they shouldn't. The pull of the emotional bond, the comfort and familiarity of being truly understood, that's why emotional impact is irreplaceable. Because it's not just about memories, it's about the lasting effect you have on someone's heart. And once that's been felt, it becomes a standard by which every other connection will be measured. Erratic life means building a reality so full of purpose, energy, and growth that people are drawn to you naturally without you needing to pull them in. Most people make the mistake of believing attraction is only about physical looks or surface level charm, but true magnetism comes from the way you live. It's the combination of your mindset, your habits, your goals, and the energy you radiate every day. When your life is rich in experiences, ambition, and self-improvement, you give off a presence that's impossible to ignore. She may have walked away. When she sees you living in a way that inspires and intrigues, she will start to notice the changes, and those changes will stir something in her. A magnetic life is built on momentum. It's waking up with a sense of direction, having something to look forward to, and taking actions that align with your values and dreams. When you live like this, you're not just passing time, you're creating a life worth noticing. People are attracted to energy, and when your energy is high because you're engaged in meaningful pursuits, it draws attention effortlessly. She will see that you are not sitting around waiting for her to come back. Instead, you're investing in yourself, chasing goals, meeting new people, learning new skills, and becoming more complete as a person. This kind of life has a ripple effect. The more you grow, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the more risks you take. The more risks you take, the more experiences you gain. Over time, your life becomes layered with stories, achievements, and qualities that make you stand out. And when she compares the man she knew before to the man you're becoming, she will see a clear difference. And that difference is compelling because it signals progress. It shows her that while she stepped away, you kept moving forward. Magnetism also comes from independence. When you live a life that isn't centered around her or anyone else, it communicates strength. It shows that while you valued her presence, you never depended on it to find meaning. That level of self-sufficiency is deeply attractive because it's rare. Most people lose themselves when they lose someone they care about, but when you can keep building, keep smiling, and keep thriving, sends a powerful message you are whole on your own. Another layer to living a magnetic life is authenticity. People are drawn to those who know who they are and aren't afraid to live in alignment with it. If you're pretending to be someone you're not or living just to impress, the energy will eventually fade. But when you live from a place of truth, pursuing passions that genuinely light you up, people feel that sincerity. It's the kind of energy that doesn't need to be advertised, felt. She may not admit it, but watching you live with purpose will affect her. It might start with curiosity, wondering what you've been up to, noticing your energy is different. Then it may turn into admiration as she sees your life expanding in ways she didn't expect. And from admiration, it can turn into attraction because people can't help but be drawn to those who are constantly growing and evolving. That's why living a magnetic life is one of the most powerful ways to bring someone back. Not because you asked them to return, but because you became someone they don't want to stay away from. Silence is often misunderstood. Many think it's about cutting someone off or punishing them, but real silence, the kind that works in your favor, comes from a place of strength, not spite. It's about knowing your value so well that you don't feel the need to constantly explain yourself, defend yourself, or chase after someone's attention. Words can be powerful. Sometimes they lose their weight when they're used too much. Silence, on the other hand, creates space for reflection, space for curiosity, space for someone to truly feel your absence and question why you're no longer there in the same way. When you stop talking, when you stop chasing, when you stop feeding constant interaction, you remove the comfort of knowing you'll always be there to respond. This absence of communication makes people think. It forces them to wonder what's going on in your mind, what's happening in your life, and whether they still hold the same place in your world. That uncertainty can be a powerful trigger because curiosity is one of the most compelling human emotions. People naturally want to fill in the blanks. Silence gives her blanks to fill. But silence is not just about withholding contact. It's about how you carry yourself during that quiet period. If your silence is filled with bitterness, resentment, or obvious attempts to make her jealous, it will lose its power. True, effective silence is calm, composed, and backed by action. You're not just sitting in the dark hoping she notices. You're living, moving forward, improving yourself, and showing through your absence that you are not dependent on her validation to feel whole. This kind of silence shifts the power dynamic in a subtle but undeniable way. Before, she may have felt she had your attention no matter what she did. Now, she realizes your attention is something that can be lost, and that realization often sparks a change in how she views you. She may start wondering if she misjudged your value, if she underestimated the role you played in her life. And that seed of doubt can grow quickly, especially if she sees you thriving without her. Another reason silence works is because it interrupts the pattern. If you've been someone who always reached out first, always tried to keep the connection alive, breaking that habit sends a clear message that something is different. People are naturally drawn back to what feels uncertain or unavailable because it challenges their ego and their assumptions. Silence becomes a quiet reminder that your world doesn't revolve around her anymore, and that can be both intriguing and unsettling. Over time, the effect of silence compounds. The longer you remain calm and consistent in not chasing, the more she will feel the difference. In moments when she expects you to reach out and you don't, she will think about you. When she wonders what you're doing and there's no instant answer, her curiosity will grow. As that curiosity builds, so does the desire to reconnect, not because you pushed her to, because she feels the pull on her own. In the end, silence works because it allows space for realization. It's in the quiet moments that people often recognize what they truly miss. And when your silence is paired with genuine growth and self-respect, it speaks volumes without you having to say a single word. When you look at everything we've talked about, all comes down to one truth. You cannot force someone to come back, but you can become the version of yourself they cannot stay away from. Stop chasing and start elevating. The moment you shift your focus inward, your energy changes. Let your absence create value, reminding her that your presence was never guaranteed, but always a privilege. Trust the emotional impact you've left behind, because real connections can't be replaced by quick distractions. Build a life so magnetic that it pulls people in without effort, and let your silence speak for you when words would only weaken your position. This isn't about games, manipulation, or trying to control someone else's choices. It's about reclaiming your own power, your own confidence, and your own sense of worth. When you stand in that space of strength, people feel it, she will feel it. And whether she comes back or not, you'll be in the best position you've ever been in, not just for her, but for yourself, for your future, and for the life you deserve to live. So walk forward with your head high. Don't chase, don't beg, and don't lose yourself trying to keep what's not ready to stay. Become so strong, so confident, so whole that she either has to step up to meet you or step aside while you rise. Thank you for listening. I hope these words stay with you in the quiet moments when you need them most. You have more strength than you realize, more value than you've been giving yourself credit for, and more potential than you've even begun to tap into. Protect your energy, honor your worth, and live in a way that makes your presence unforgettable. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and remember, the right people will always find their way back to you. Thank you.